1, submarine contact in the vital area. Away the Nixie team away. Away the Nixie team away. Set general quarters. Set general quarters. General quarters, all hands, leave battle station. General quarters, all hands, leave battle station.
Hey folks, we're on. Tonight, Clint and BZ tear through the gristle of today's screaming headlines and rip out the sinewy tendons of truth ensconced within, all from the hoary streets of Sacramento, Fornicalia, exposing the trembling toadies, sniveling jackanapes, and frivolous pop-doodles, infesting leftist and progressive brain-housing groups nationally, featuring the effervescent contrarian sackheads Clint, plus the unrestrained bulbosity of the Zeppmeister, doubling your late-night conservative talk show pleasure with double the hosts, elements that, when combined, produce delayed borborygmus, and in some cases, true elegance. Some contents may have settled during shipping. Member FDIC batteries not included. The warranty is void in Montenegro. It's Wednesday, so it's Sackheads.
I have to disagree with you right off the start.
Really?
It's Thursday.
It's the 5th.
It's the 6th.
It's the 5th of September
the 6th
already.
Of September at
the
3:02
year
a.m.
of our Lord 2018.
We can agree on that.
Yeah. So then,
do you know why I'm saying
what you're saying is because I quantified you as a contrarian. That's why you're saying that, right?
Yeah, but I have facts.
It's like Monty Python's damn argument clinic. Okay.
Look, I can.
Anybody remember that? I remember that.
I can prove that.
If I had a producer, I'd have that up right now, and I'd be playing that.
I can prove that we are in tomorrow. This is in fact the 6th. We are Thursday. It is 0303. It is 3:03 in the morning. Currently where we are.
Okay, like Greenwich time, maybe?
No, absolutely not. I would never insult your intelligence and put us on Greenwich Mean Time.
Okay, all right. Now if I can just figure out how to get to the show so I can monitor.
I thought you were trying to figure out what I thought you were trying to figure out what time I'm on here.
No. What? Yes. Well, wait. Yeah. What time are you on? I'm
not.
Are you on GMT?
I am not. I am not. I am on Coordinated Universal Time or Universal
CMT.
Time Coordinated.
So you're on
UTC.
country. You're on country music television time.
UTC. So let me tell you a story.
You got a story.
This actually comes from somewhere.
No, that's okay. No, listen. I've told you time and again, dude. I love your stories.
Yeah. So I had an individual bring me some paperwork today. And they could not figure out why the times that they were looking for in these documents, why they didn't match. And he was like, I'm looking for certain things within this time frame. I have this directly from the keeper of records, the corporate keeper of records for what I'm looking for, and they are completely different match, and nothing matches up. So I don't have the information I'm looking for. And I said, well, how do you know that the time that the keeper of the records is on is the same as the time you have for the events that you're looking for?
Okay.
That's reasonable, correct?
That's a good question. I think that's an appropriate question.
So I was looking at this document to help this individual out, and the times were in UTC.
Okay, now there's what's the time that police departments have a very lengthy time that they put in their computer records. And it has a specific name, and I can't think of what the heck it is right now. It's like blah blah Ian time.
I don't know, but this is.
I can make it up. It's Genovian time.
Make it up. It sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's Genovian time. That's what it is.
Oh, you didn't make that up?
No, I made up Genovian time.
Oh, okay, I like it
because I get to make up Genovian time.
So UTC, it confounded me, and then I realized where I had heard it before.
Okay.
I didn't realize where I had heard it before, but I realized that I had heard it before.
Okay.
And UTC is often commonly mistaken as Greenwich Mean Time. Greenwich Mean Time is an actual time for a particular zone, so it is considered a time zone.
Right, okay.
UTC is not. UTC is the time standard that was adopted based in the early 60s. I don't have the exact date, and I had to look this up today for when it was adopted. But it was the time standard that was adopted for which all of the other time zones and standards are set.
Okay, so UTC, Universal Time Code? I'm guessing. I mean, I made up Genovian time. Why can't I make up UTC time?
No, it's a Universal Time Coordinated or Coordinated Universal Time.
I like mine better.
But
I like
it's
Universal.
UTC. I like yours
Time
better.
code.
I like yours better also. But it's not a time zone. Whereas Greenwich Mean Time is a time zone. But it is a time standard. So this organization utilized a time standard for the basis of all of their records. And where we are here in Shatramento, Fornicalia,
Right.
it is plus 7 hours, which puts us into the 6th. And since we set the standard for conservative media, we might as well go with the standard that's set for time.
Okay, with all the stuff that's sitting in front of me right now and up there and down here, okay, I'm confused. I am like way confused. I'm sorry. Granted, that is a story. Not one of my favorites from you.
No.
I have to admit, but it is a story.
It is a story. You think I wasn't confused?
Jesus.
So now I get to come share this with all of you. All of you.
Maybe it's called the time that police departments used is like Genovian time or Mercator time.
Merkin time?
Or mercantile
That's something
time.
totally different. Don't Google that. Don't Google Merkin time.
Yeah.
It's totally different.
Hey, I see that Right Wing Aviator
I have a great story.
Is in Listen,
I can't tell it.
You had your story.
I
you
can't
had
tell
your
it,
story
though.
chance.
Did I not have a pretty decent story before we went on the air?
No, that was a really good story.
Thank you.
That was a very, very good story. That's right up with the stories that I customarily expect out of you. But see, now we need something that we can share for everybody else.
Yeah, no, I don't have it. You know what? We enlightened them with UTC.
Okay. Isn't that funny barcode that goes on the sides of packages?
BZ.
When you go to your grocery store, they take, like this Pepsi. They take this Pepsi, and where's the code on this thing? Yeah, there's the code right there. And they take this code and they scan it, and that's how you paid for this Pepsi ton. By the way, thank you for paying for my Pepsi tonight.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Greatly
My
appreciate
pleasure.
it.
Are you wearing Nike anything?
No. We'll get to that. Oh, boy.
We just got to it.
Are we going to get to that?
I mean, you're talking name brand stuff right now. I figure we'll just jump right into Nike.
Okay. Did something happen today?
With Nike?
Yeah.
Not yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before?
So your question is whether or not they made a good decision.
Oh, no, it's not a question in my mind. They made a horrible decision.
No, I thought for sure you were going to say that they made a great decision.
Well, okay, so it depends on perspective, right? From a liberal standpoint, they made a great decision. From a business standpoint, I think they made a horrible decision. From a consumer standpoint, I think I'm not buying Nike.
This is weird, and I can't think of the name of the guy. By the way, let's back up. Let's back that car wash up just a little bit for people that don't know what we're talking about. Nike decided recently that they thought it was going to be a great idea if they embraced the NFL's favorite player, Colin Kaepernick.
Yes.
And so they started this new ad campaign.
In celebration of their 30th anniversary for Just Do It.
Right, because of all the athletes that you could have gotten who really have made some accomplishments in their life, maybe one of the Williams sisters, or, I don't know, somebody that's a great runner. You have to go to somebody in the NFL because you've decided to do the social justice warrior thing, and now Nike has embraced. We love us some Colin Kaepernick.
Well, not only that, but the NFL is trying to put this whole kneeling thing to bed because it hurt them so badly. And now Nike congratulations, you thrust it right back into the spotlight.
I was going to say just what I thought I was going to get out of them.
A few days before football season starts.
Just when I thought it was out, you guys drag me back in. That's perfect. Now, what I do have to say, though, is I was listening to Tucker Carlson before I came here. Tucker Carlson tonight. And he had this guy on that said, with the 30-year anniversary of Nike, because Nike's they have to do something to buttress up their name, and all the people that were buying shoes 30 years ago, they're all either dead or expired, and they couldn't care less about you. So now they have to embrace somebody new and exciting to go sell shoes, $120, $200, $250 shoes to poor people who can't afford that. So just like in the 90s when I was in robbery, they'd kill people and stab them for their shoes. That was exciting back then. But now they've decided that this is a good business decision. And the guy that was speaking to Tucker Carlson on Tucker Carlson tonight said, yeah, you know what? Whether you like the social justice warrior thing or not, he thinks they're going to sell more shoes. And he said also, as an owner of someone who has shares of Nike, they're going to want them to continue on this tack.
They want Nike to continue?
That's he was looking at this solely from a business standpoint.
So he thinks
and
they're
from
going
a
to
business standpoint, he believes that Nike is going to sell more shoes and that they're going to go up.
Based on what? I mean, Nike sells more than just shoes, right? I mean, Nike sells.
Well, as far as I know, if there's anything that you can put a swish on, they sell it.
Yeah, and you have a ton of people like me that have kids in sports. My kids play baseball every year. I have kids that play basketball. I have kids that play volleyball. I have. You name it, and my kids probably play it. And guess what? Because kids grow every year, I have to buy new sporting equipment. I have to buy new shoes. I have to buy new shorts or new uniforms or shirts or batting gloves or name it. And Nike, because they do make quality sporting good gear, has gotten my business. And if you've purchased sporting gear recently, particularly in the cesspool called California, that stuff is not cheap. I mean, we're talking, not counting bats or gloves, you're probably talking $250 per kid by the time you consider outfitting them with uniforms and shoes and socks and all that good stuff. So $250 per kid times the number that I have equals a lot of money.
Well, here's the other.
And so you have, and I'm one person in occupied America. Imagine how many more across the country are going to be affected like this. Do you think it's going to be the Black Lives Matter folks who are going to be embracing Nike? I mean, yeah, I think they will.
I believe so, yes.
But guess what? They already have it. I mean, a lot of people embrace Nike. The Black Lives Matter people embrace Nike. Liberals, conservatives embrace Nike. Nike is everywhere. So the fact that, and you look at what happened to the NFL with a 10% hit they took, huge hit last year.
And it's only going to get worse.
And Nike stock dropped a 2 or 3, maybe 4%.
Well, okay,
which translated to how many $1 billion in one day?
Yeah.
And granted, they came back up a little bit today, but I think that this is going to hurt Nike. They might sell a little bit more apparel to certain groups or certain segments of the population, but this is a big country, and I think a majority of people that are paying attention to this or that know this, particularly former football fans that have kids in school, blah, 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 I don't think it's going to serve Nike very well. And there's already been pushback from it.
Okay, I'm looking at an article right now from CNBC, and it says Nike share fall as backlash erupts over new ad campaign featuring Colin Kaepernick. Nike's share fell yesterday, after the company revealed a new ad campaign featuring Colin Kaepernick. The news of Kaepernick, who in 2016 decided not to stand for the national anthem in protest of racial injustice, is now becoming the face of Nike marketing, and it sparked some backlash from consumers on social media. Hashtag Nike boycott is trending on Twitter, and some people are saying they're going to burn their Nike sneakers. Well, since then, I've gone to various forms of social media, and by God, there are people with little trash piles of smoldering Nike sneakers, so that is true. So let me see if I'm understanding you correctly, because this one guy that was on Tucker Carlson, and again, I can't remember his name, but he was saying that essentially there will be a sufficient amount of people to whom Colin Kaepernick will appeal to them, and they'll buy more Nike apparel, Nike shoes, etc. You're saying, I think, if I'm hearing you correctly, that as somebody that manages a baseball team or someone that decides they're going to spec clothing for their football team or their baseball team or some other kind of organized sport, now some of the people who are adults, because the kids don't buy them, the adults buy it.
Yep.
Now that because of this decision, Nike and Colin Kaepernick, it will be such that the adults who won't like something like this, but they're the ones that mass purchase a lot of these items, they're going to be the people that are going to say, no more, we're done.
Absolutely. And look, I can tell you this for me personally, I have athletic clothing that is Nike that I have worn to the gym, that I have worn to baseball, softball, whatever, and I won't anymore. There are other sporting brands that are high quality, some of which cost a little bit less, some about the same. And if I'm going to spend the same amount of money or less, I will go with another brand that I know is good. Under Armour is a great brand. I've had Under Armour cleats before, and I will be getting rid of my Nike cleats, and I will probably be purchasing a pair of Under Armour cleats. Adidas makes pretty good sporting apparel. In terms of shoes and other clothing and stuff. They are a competitor of Nike. And so those two come to mind immediately for alternatives, and they make just as much stuff, and they are, in my opinion, just as good a quality as Nike.
Now it's going to get complicated, because you mentioned Under Armour. You remember Dick's Sporting Goods?
I used to shop there.
Okay. Used to being the operative phrase from you. Dick's Sporting Goods went out and decided they were no longer going to carry firearms. And as a matter of fact, about a month ago or longer, I believe, Dick's Sporting Goods decided it would be in their economic interest to take all the guns that they had already purchased and take them all to the scrapper, destroying whatever inventory they had of firearms, and now they don't sell firearms at all. Dick's went down, their shares went down, and they accredited it not necessarily to the people that were boycotting or deciding they weren't going to shop at Dick's Sporting Goods anymore for firearms. What they were saying is that it may be a little bit of that. That's like the NFL saying, no, it has nothing to do with the kneeling. So Dick's was saying, no, the firearm thing, that really doesn't, that wasn't that big a percentile of our overall profit. They were saying Under Armour decided that they were going to sell to a greater number of people, and so our Under Armour profits went down. I say that because now that you're talking about Under Armour and that people are not going to go to Nike, will they go to Under Armour, and then will they go to Dick's Sporting Goods to try to get their Under Armour?
I think with everything online, I mean, you look at Sports Authority, Sports Chalet, you look at the other major sporting goods stores that have gone under. Dick's was, in my opinion, Dick's was doing well because you could go to, there's something about going to the store, right? There's something about going to the store, holding the gun, seeing what you're purchasing, dealing with somebody face to face. And, oh, you know what? While I'm here, they carry guns. Good American, sporting goods store. Almost has that neighborhood feel to it, even though it's a larger store because, almost like a Big Five. Big Five Sporting Goods is still in
Big Five
business.
Sporting Goods. There's one down on Elk Grove Boulevard that I went to purchase a pair of tennis shoes from years ago. By the way, New Balance. Just thought I'd tell you, I've never purchased anything from Nike.
And Big Five, what do they carry? Guns.
Oh,
A lot of guns.
Yeah, amongst a lot of
and
other things.
ammunition. And look, some of their stuff isn't very good quality. Some of their stuff is pretty good quality, but their price points are pretty good. And look, I will order. You can order damn near anything you want from Big Five, including Under Armour and Adidas and anything else you'd want, or Amazon or name the retailer. But my point is, why are you going to go into, or why would I don't shop it there anymore. Why would I go into a Dick's Sporting Goods to purchase stuff for my kids when I could sit at home, click a few buttons, I know what sizes they are, get that stuff shipped to me, or go to a Big Five if I really need them to try stuff on or whatever. And hey, while I'm there, maybe I'll check out a new rifle, or I'll check out a new shotgun, or I'll check out one of the antique weapon, not antique weapons, but one of the older weapons that they have there. In the meantime, there's a reason why Big Five is still in business and has been for years. And Big Five, look, you go into a Big Five and it is not all glitz and glamour.
Not
at all.
No, it isn't. It's like the Kmart of sporting goods places.
It really is. But they have survived how long? They have outlived Sports Authority, which was huge over here for a while.
Sports Chalet
was big.
Really big.
You used to be able to get scuba dive certified at one of the two. I don't remember which one it was. They had a big swimming pool and a dive tank and everything else. But there's a reason why Big Five has outlasted all these folks, and I think that I think that Dick's made a mistake. Maybe they can recover. Maybe they have a different business model. They can adjust fire. I don't know. But I think Nike is. I think Nike is going to lose business. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before.
Well, let's put it this way.
Not very often, but it's happened.
That guy on Tucker Carlson. Do you know why I threw that in there? Just to be a contrarian, because you were going one particular direction. However, that being said, I'd like to say hello to all the people that are in chat over on the SHR side. Michael John Pasco, Whiskey Dale, Dave Milner, and one viewer who shall remain masked because we don't unmask people in here. Right-wing aviators in the chat room in the YouTube area. And Whiskey Dale happened to say, Nike doesn't care. Their crap is made, just like you pointed out, in China sweatshops. So they really don't care. But I find it interesting to note, as you pointed out, that the direct day after they made this wise social justice warrior announcement, their stock already started to drop.
Yeah.
So let's look at Colin Kaepernick. Was he not one of the... He was a star for about, 6 months, if that. And what was Colin Kaepernick? All legs. Was he an arm? Not necessarily. He decided to take the kneeling thing, and then there wasn't a massive fight for Colin Kaepernick because people said, because he went the social justice warrior route, that's what really kept him off the fields. Well...
No, he was fighting for his quarterback job before that even started.
He was a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
With a lot of tats and big hair, but other than that, he's still a one-trick pony. And if he were God's gift to quarterbacking, he'd have a job.
Absolutely. And look,
if any of these agencies thought that they could make a buck off of him,
they would in a heartbeat. I want to be fair. He's talented. Colin Kaepernick has athleticism that most people don't have. He could run. He was strong. He could throw the ball. He did have issues as a quarterback. He did have struggles after his kind of breakout season that he had. And I don't want to take that away from him because the guy did play ball. The guy did make it to the NFL. The guy did win an NFC championship, and the guy did go to the Super Bowl. Just the fact that somebody made it to the NFL and wore an NFL jersey on a team's sideline is a tremendous amount of athleticism, and so for that I respect his talent and the fact that he got to where he was, because he may not be talented in comparison with other NFL quarterbacks, and I think that's fair. But I don't think somebody
I think that's way fair.
But
That
I don't
is
think
more
somebody
than
can say
fair.
that he's not a talented athlete, because the man made it to the NFL. Now, that being said, this is also a man who wore socks depicting cops as pigs. This is a man who kneels for the national anthem. This is a man who has become a social justice crusader, as you've said, who puts down everything that I believe in as an American, with the exception of free speech, because I do think he has the right to say and be as ignorant as he wants to be.
Absolutely.
Not when he's wearing the colors of his employer, but whatever he does in his off time, I can completely disagree with him, and he has that right. But because I view what he stands for as being so anti-American and so anti-everything that I cherish and I think is great or important about this country, I think that Nike picking him up, such a divisive figure, is a huge mistake. I mean, why would Nike not? And I have a question. I wish there was a Nike executive, and please feel free to call in if any of you are actually listening to this show. I doubt it, and I doubt even if you were, you'd have the courage to call in. Why would anybody at Nike think it was a better idea to go with a figure who is known to be as controversial and divisive as Colin Kaepernick over trying to get another sports player? Take your pick.
Well, I mentioned some already
who has
that are current and excellent,
and who are not here to divide our country, who maybe will just say, hey, we'll leave the politics outside of the field, and hey, you know what? Whatever it is you believe in, just do it. Hey, whatever your slogan is, right? Because that's something that transcends. That's a message of together. I'm not saying that this person on the far on the right is correct. I'm not saying the person on the left is correct. I'm not saying just do it as in resist. I'm saying just do it as in just do you. And is there a marketing person out there? Just do you. And
listen, you just stole that from Diet Coke. Diet Coke has this chick in all the movie theaters.
Oh, really?
And,
just do you.
And she grabbed a Diet Coke, and she says, "You want to live in a yurt? Yurt it up. Just do you."
Oh,
so
that's
if
cool.
you
Okay. So look, but that should be a similar message that Nike can portray, right? Just do it. Just do what? Well, just do whatever it is to you. As an American, as a sports enthusiast, as somebody who is, an avid runner, or somebody who just works out a few times a week, or if you're a kid playing ball, or if you're a professional on the field, whatever it is you do, just do it. That would be a more powerful message, I think. And I think that would also have helped the NFL in terms of bringing people together. And I think Nike failed.
They did fail, but they're going for they're going for the hot, for the new, for the trendy, because they have not been known for hot, new, or trendy. They're going for the social justice warriors. They're
going for controversial.
Yes, they are.
They're going for controversial and divisive.
But you have to bottom line ask yourself, as you already indicated, in contravention of what the business dude was saying on Tucker Carlson tonight, is all these individuals, how frequently are they going to be able to go out and purchase $250 shoes?
Yeah, they might get a few pairs each. They might. Their sales may go up in certain circles. Their sales will, in certain circles with people that are passionate about this issue on the left, their sales will go up. For people that don't really care one way or another and are just going about their daily lives, head in the clouds, and I don't want to know all the bad shit that's going on in the world. I'm just going to go to work. I'm going to raise my family. I'm going to do the best I can. It won't affect them one bit. They won't gain or lose business as a result. But for those of us that do pay attention, that do care about this country, that do care about civil discourse and coming together as opposed to dividing, it will have an impact. And I think there are more of us than there are of those who are going to increase their purchase of this product because of this. Again, there's that segment that's going to stay the same. Some will increase, and I think some will decrease. And I think the ones that are going to decrease their sales are going to outweigh those that are going to increase them.
I would tend to agree with you, though you have been known to be a contrarian. That having been said, you have to ask in terms of just quantity of product. What's the offset? Are there going to be a sufficient number of greater social justice warriors who will target Nike for the purchase of product as opposed to the other people who spec, let's say, entire teams from little teeny kids to older kids to much older kids, and what are they going to do? So is the offset worth it? We'll know in about a year.
Maybe Nike might see a small decline. Maybe they'll see a great decline. I don't think they'll see any bump, maybe initially a little bit, because I think this stuff, like you said, is going to take about a year. Or maybe they'll see a significant impact. Either way, any negative impact is still negative impact. And in the business world, that ain't good.
Folks, we got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a few other things, maybe Rahm Emanuel. Hey, have you had a good burger recently? Just got to ask that question, too.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capitol, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcats Saloon Radio Show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
When dirty politicians, shadow governments, and deceptive Islam blind the world with fake stream media smoke, their only fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through shrmedia.com, highplains.talkradio.com, and the Western Free Radio Network at Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes for a different perspective weekly on the Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender ever,
because truth is not always pleasant.
Hey guys, it's Sackhead Clint. I'm excited to tell you about a brand new show here on the SHR Media Network. I'm teaming up with the one and only all-powerful, the bloviating Zeppelin, sitting here to my left, bringing to you a fresh new show here on the network. It's Against Tyranny. And we'll be picking up where the Sackheads left off. Excited to be with you, sir.
Sackheads Against Tyranny.
We're going to chat. We're going to chat Wednesday nights.
S-H-A-T.
Sackheads Against Tyranny.
Wednesday nights, 11 p.m. Oh, it's the same time, right? 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific.
Same SAC time, same SAC channel.
Yep. SHRmedia.com.
See what I did there?
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The Right Guy on SHR Media.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
Hey, BZ. So the plan's working. You got rid of Sacco. Sean is now stepping away.
I never even saw him.
And I know, and insidious. You know, we talked about this for for the last 3 years, and finally coming to fruition.
You know I'm still in the room, right?
It's almost like he's here still. Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's kind of.
It's amazing. It's kind of
at you.
It's kind of eerie.
Kind of a poltergeist.
Like a poltergeisty thing.
Yeah, sackheads against tyranny.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
We're back.
I like all the stuff that Sean. I have a story.
You do have a story.
I have a good story. I need to rehabilitate myself.
I want a story.
So it just dawned on me on break that we have not spoken live and in studio since I've been back from North Carolina.
No, last week Sackhead Sean was here. You were gone.
Yep.
And then, so the last time you were here was about 2.5 weeks ago.
And it was literally the night before I jumped on a 6 a.m. flight to North Carolina.
Okay.
Which I did. And you remember that because I was like, I got to go, guys.
That's right.
And I was out the door.
Oh, you know what? I remember that because that was also the night that you were so damn tired, I cut the show short.
No, that was a different night.
Was it the week before? Because
Yeah.
I remember you were working late doing something.
Yeah.
And then...
and tonight, too. I'm same thing. First thing tomorrow morning, I got somewhere else. I'm out of here.
Jeez.
I don't know how I have time to even do anything.
Yeah.
So a couple cool things. So first of all, I was in North Carolina, one of the original 13 colonies, obviously.
Okay.
Also part of Dixie, one of the southern states. And I was in a little town called Asheville, North Carolina. Beautiful, 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 beautiful country.
Okay.
But Asheville, I was so happy to be out of California. So fucking happy to be out of California.
It had to be bizarre if for no other reason than when you landed and got out of the plane, you saw green.
I saw green everywhere.
What an unusual color.
And everybody had a fucking gun. It was great.
Because we don't see green in California in summer. We see everything is brown.
Yeah.
The air is brown from the wildfires caused by the enviro-leftists.
Yes.
The grass is brown because we're in a drought and you can't use your water. You can't water your lawn.
Yeah.
So everything in the summer is brown.
Yeah. But it was beautiful. The people were great. So I ended up in this little town called Asheville. Beautiful town. Great little downtown area. And one of the signs over one of the business doors said, hippies use side door, which I thought was hilarious.
Really?
Yes. But what made
God,
it
I wish you'd taken a photograph of that.
What made it even better is, unbeknownst to me,
I would love to have seen a photograph of that.
So I'm walking and I'm like, wow, this is great. Like, it's great that people are normal. There aren't transients crapping all over the sidewalk. There's nobody shooting up needles in any storefronts. There are actually storefronts. There's nothing's empty. I saw a marker on the side of the road from 1776 when an American general led the march along the whatever river that was. The name escapes me right now. To go fight the Cherokee when they were aligning with the French.
Right.
And just all this history was there. And I was just bebopping down the street, and all of a sudden I'm walking in the middle of the square, and I see this individual, and this individual had no shirt on, and I'm looking, and I see pancakes and big toe indicators hanging out. And it's a female. So if you can picture female breasts that are pancaked and the nipples are pointed straight down as if they're indicating where the big toe is, so we're calling them big toe indicators, standing...
or BTIs.
BTIs.
Right, BTIs.
Yes, pancakes and BTIs. And
wasn't that a garage band at one time?
I don't know, but fuck, BZ, I'm in North Carolina, and all of a sudden I feel like I'm in San Francisco.
Well,
literally, this is what I said. What the fuck? And everybody, the jukebox stops, right? Because I don't have an accent. And everybody kind of looks at me, and I'm like, am I in fucking San Francisco?
Boy,
and
did you just say something?
And
son?
what was great is I look around, and there's like 3 or 4 other women, nothing you'd like to look at, all with their shirts off and their breasts hanging out. And I think the youngest one was like 74.
Oh, please. Now you're making this up.
Oh, so I believe there was somebody in their 70s who was there. I believe there were a couple ladies in their 40s, maybe 50s, and there was this other gal, the one with the big toe indicators, who was probably in her late 30s, maybe. Nobody younger.
Okay,
and
did she have teeth?
I don't know. I didn't check.
You didn't count?
No, I was listening. It was like a train wreck.
Didn't
right?
do a dental count.
It was like a train wreck. I'm like, oh my God, you could like lift those things up and tie them behind your head, I think, like ribbon. And so I'm like, and then I see this cop, and I go up to this Asheville cop, and I said, excuse me, officer. And she says, yeah, how can I help you? I go, am I in North Carolina? Because I feel like I'm back in fucking California right now. And she laughed. And there's these old hippie people like standing like kind of around me or whatever.
Okay, wait a minute. Just a second.
Yeah.
You actually said that to a local cop who was a female if you were back in California with regard to hippies. You're not making this up.
BZ, you've known me for a little while now.
This is what you actually said.
This is what I actually
to
said.
A cop completely across the United States
Yes.
from where you live.
Yes.
Okay.
And if Sean were here, he would attest, because he has seen me firsthand, he would attest that I actually say shit like that to people. My give a shit factor is very low when it comes to dealing with other people, which is probably why some of my stories are so good.
Okay, well, your veracity just went up markedly just by confirming that with me. Just saying.
Okay. So she laughed, and she said, and there were some other kind of hippies in the area, and they were clearly hippies. Now I'm realizing that there are fucking hippies here where I'm standing, which makes that sign I told you about earlier that much more fucking hilarious.
Carolina hippies.
In North Carolina. And so I end up talking, and the sergeant laughed. She goes, yeah, they come out every year. And she actually kind of explained it to me. and these hippies are kind of around, and they think it's hilarious. Like, they weren't pissed off.
It's like insects. They only come out at certain periods of time during the year.
They were almost like it wasn't like California hippies where they'd be offended that I had the audacity to say something. They were kind of amused. And this female cop basically said, no, they come out once a year. In North Carolina, there is, and I'm not even doing the accent, in North Carolina, it is not against the law for women to go topless. For women to go topless. She goes, but the women come out every year to basically say that it should be socially acceptable for it to happen. And so they come out and they bare their breasts, and it's not illegal, and it's kind of their own little protest to say, hey, society should accept this. And then the cop says, within earshot of these freaking 4 hippie chicks with their shirts off, and wouldn't you figure it's never the ones you want to see?
And this is
in uniform.
Okay, this is from a female cop,
North Carolina.
In North Carolina.
Sergeant. Yes.
Okay, one more.
I can't check the box.
Okay.
I can't check another box.
But no, in front, the sixth point was
in front of the hippies,
of all of those people.
Yes. Yes. And so I, of course, start laughing. And then one of the other hippies says, big difference between us and those California hippies. We still love our country.
And that's when you dropped the mic.
That's when I said, I turned around and I was like, and this is why I could live even in a hippie town in the South. And then come to find out later from talking to the sergeant that Asheville, I guess, is like the hippie mecca in the South. Like anywhere else I would have gone in the South, I would probably not have seen a hippie. I would have heard banjos playing, and I would have been totally fine with that. Another thing that's very interesting, and I showed you a picture at the break, but in the town square there was a marker, and the marker was actually it was from the Daughters of the Confederacy and friends in loving memory of Robert E. Lee, and it marked the route of the Dixie Highway. And the marker was in this town square, even in a hippie haven in the South. And so I bring it up because, number one, it was a hilarious story, and I had forgotten that I hadn't seen you since I've been there. But number two, it just shows you the difference between free America and California. You know, are those hippies liberal? I'm sure by North Carolina standards. Of course they are. You know, but they come out to California and they'd probably be stark raving mad Republicans out here. But just the fact that even the hippies aren't sitting here decrying the Confederate monument that's there, you know, or the big monument in the town square to Vance, and I don't know who Vance was, but there's a big marker there for some Confederate named Vance. I guess it was a huge Confederate town, but they embrace their history, and it's not that they embrace slavery or they embrace, you know, what the South in many people's opinions stood for, right? Oppression and slavery. But they understand that it was a war for states' rights, and although they may disagree with whatever it was, they understand that it's a part of their state history, and they know it. They don't celebrate it necessarily, but they know it, they remember it, and they honor it so that we see where we have come from and how far we have come. And so I got that from talking to some of the locals down there because it was an interesting perspective, something that we don't see out here. Out here in California, if there's a Confederate statue, we think, not we, you, and I, but we as liberal Californians think that, oh my gosh, it's because they're celebrating oppression, they're celebrating slavery, they're celebrating hate. Well, no. That's not it at all. For them, and again, this isn't my words. This is from local folks that I had a chance to speak with. I'm sure there are some that think that it should go, but those that I spoke with, it's about remembering where we've come from and seeing how far that we have come.
Okay,
was that a better story?
It was a better story. It back at the BTI was interesting. I enjoyed that aspect of it
because you pictured it,
right?
You're a sicko.
Yeah, the Brain Theater did go certain places.
It paints a picture, does it not? I could say big toe indicators.
Yeah, it does,
and you know exactly what I'm talking about.
It does. Hey, since the stuff is new, folks, and we've changed a few things, we got a big computer and we got some screens, and Sackhead Sean has had to come back and update some software and hardware issues. Dave is saying in the SHR chat that this share thing comes up, and I'm guessing it's at the bottom of the screen. And just to let Dave know, if you've never seen that before, I've had that on the SHR Media chat room at the bottom for, I don't know, ever since I've been in the chat room. Every once in a while, it'll pop up at the very bottom, and I'm guessing that's what you're talking about. And the other thing, and the reason I'm mentioning this is so that I remember to talk to Sackhead Sean about this. Apparently there were issues with the sound in Facebook, and apparently there were issues with the sound in YouTube. So if somebody either in YouTube, or both actually, would be preferable because we want to address these issues, Okay, Dave Milner says, I can usually get rid of it, but not anymore. Well, at the bottom right now on the SHR Media chat room, I'm seeing share and tweet. On the left is share on Facebook, and at the right, at the bottom, is tweet. To me, that's always been there. So I don't know if you're seeing something different or for whatever reason you never saw it before, Dave, but for me, in my experience, it's always been there. Now, Jeff Dunnett says, I can't get sound. Now, Jeff, when you say you can't get sound, does that mean that you can't get sound at shrmedia.com on Spreaker?
Are you really asking him right now when the man is telling you he can't hear you? Or are you saying this so that he can watch your lips move?
I would expect that from Dave, but not from Jeff, for obvious reasons. But, Dave has various machinery that help him to hear the shows as they come through. So when you make comments like that, because this is all new, and again, thanks to being in chat to Mike, Whiskey Dale, Dave Milner, Jeff Dunnett, Beantown Billy, and one viewer in the SHR Media chat room. Number one, thanks for being here. But if there's something that's not happening or is happening, could you let us know? Now, Whiskey Dale says on Facebook video, when the video went full BZ, there was no audio. Okay, now
what does it
means...
mean to go full BZ? Is that similar as going full retard?
Boy, I hope not.
I hope not too, and I'm just trying to stick up for you here, BZ.
That's why I'm wearing the hat right now.
I'm trying to stick up for you right now.
Yeah. So, let's see, because you never want to go full retard at BZEP. I don't know where that saying came from. Anyway, Dave says, I'm listening via Firefox and logged in through Internet Explorer. All right.
I don't know what any of that means.
Okay. All right.
Now, did you...
We've got tons of stories still to go to.
What's that?
We've got tons of stories still to go to.
We do, but I'm listening to how you make all the PFM run in the studio. What?
Okay, what studio? What story? You want to go to Levi Strauss. Now, Levi Strauss came out today and said, or yesterday, I believe. Is this coincident?
No.
Or is this
I don't believe in coincidence.
Is this all interlinked? Because Levi Strauss now came out and said that they're publicly speaking out about gun control and gun control laws. Levi Strauss is saying they're setting out $1 million in donations to nonprofits and activists working to end gun violence in the U.S. So that's Levi Strauss.
I stopped buying Levi's a long time ago when they became the uniform of the revolution. Do you remember that ad campaign that they had?
No.
Oh, yeah. Several years ago, they wanted to be
I haven't done that either. And now, this is something that really didn't go anywhere. Now we have, there was some Democrat in California who said that he was going to boycott and wanted to start a boycott for In-N-Out.
Yeah.
He was called a prominent Democratic Californian.
I think he was
Eric Bauman.
I think he was is he the president of the California Democratic Party?
I don't know. So he came out and he was protesting the restaurant last week because he said they had the temerity to donate $25,000 to the Republican Party.
Oh my gosh.
I know. What he failed to point out purposely, I believe, is that they also donated $25,000 to the Democrat Party. And by the way, the day after that, just because I wanted to find out, I went to my local In-N-Out, which is right off of Highway 99, and I watched the lines, which at that In-N-Out, there are two of them that I'm aware of, one off of Highway 99 and the other one off of Highway 50 in Rancho Cordova. The lines are always long at In-N-Out.
Yes.
I don't know if this is just weird because I'm in California, in Sacramento, but the lines are always long. Now, I drove by purposely this past weekend to the In-N-Out off of Highway 99, and the lines were around the parking lot and partially blocking a street to get in. Normally, there would be one person out there in advance of the crowd taking your order by way of Bluetooth device, so that when you get up there, they can have your order ready and just hand it to you and get it out. But now there were 2 people taking orders in advance of all the vehicles that were running through. This backfired. And as I am wont to say these days, it backfired, and it backfired bigly. And so people are going to go see, or they're going to chomp on a nice In-N-Out burger. So maybe the best question to ask you, Clint, is this stuff working? Does it work? Levi Strauss is going to be known with gun control. Nike is going to be known as a social justice warrior supporting Colin Kaepernick.
Look, the liberals and the
will it succeed?
In those circles, I don't think it's going to succeed hugely for the companies. I mean, when Levi was the uniform of the revolution, and just Google Levi Strauss uniform of the revolution ad, and you may be able to pull it up still. I don't think they saw a bump from that. I mean, Levi Strauss has been a company who's, they've been run by social justice warriors and by progressives for a while now, because I remember when that campaign came out, and I don't think their business has boomed a whole lot. So I think those that buy Levi are probably still going to buy Levi, and those of us that remember that garbage from them several years ago still don't buy Levi's, and so I don't know that they're going to see a bump or not from this, or if they're just trying to do this to sell jeans, and who knows? I have no idea. I have no idea what their business model is. I have no idea if they did a study and they realized that, oh my gosh, our biggest sales are in New York and California and Oregon and Washington, and so we're going to do this because that's where we're going to see an increase in sales. Whereas Wrangler is big in, I'm stereotyping obviously, Texas and Wyoming and everything else. So I don't know. I don't know if Levi is going to see anything from it. I think Nike is going to, absolutely, because Nike hasn't been involved with anything like this before, at least not to my knowledge or recollection. They haven't been involved in a controversial ad campaign before. I remember very specifically when Levi's ad campaign came out about their uniform of the revolution, and they were called out. I remember them being called out specifically on the Glenn Beck show when Glenn Beck was still on Fox News for that ad.
Oh, that's quite some time ago.
Now that I'm thinking about it. So the Levi's kind of been through their thing, and I think those that are going to buy Levi's, or like I said, are still going to. Nike hasn't. Nike hasn't been through this yet. So I think, and Nike, I think, is a bigger name than Levi was, but I just say that based on perception, admittedly. So,
okay, I'm talking to Whiskey Dale now in chat, and he's in the SAHR Media chat, and I want to confirm with you, Whiskey Dale. Apparently, the audio goes out and then comes back. You've said that there was 0 audio on Facebook, and apparently the audio comes back on. I'd like you to confirm this for me, Whiskey Dale. The audio comes back on only when I'm on the camera. Is that what happens? And the reason I'm asking you is because I want to make sure that I give the info to Sean, who's obviously our tech guy around here. I'm semi-tech. He is full tech. Clint is fuck technology.
Yes.
Yeah. So in that order, I want to make sure that we've got things correctly, because we want to make sure that we get you guys the best experience that we can. And in terms of best experience, it's time now to experience a little bit of a break. After the break, we'll be right back. We have so many articles and so many issues to talk about, if for no other reason Kavanaugh, and no other issue than Kavanaugh. So, folks, we're going to be right back. Thanks for hanging in there. I really, really appreciate it. We'll be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show, also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capitol, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon Radio Show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
When dirty politicians, shadow governments, and deceptive Islam blind the world with fake stream media smoke, their only fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through shrmedia.com, highplainstalkradio.com, and the Western Free Radio Network at Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes for a different perspective weekly on the Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
Hey guys, it's Sackhead Clint. I'm excited to tell you about a brand new show here on the SHR Media Network. I'm teaming up with the one and only all-powerful, the bloviating Zeppelin, sitting here to my left, bringing to you a fresh new show here on the network. It's Against Tyranny. And we'll be picking up where the Sackheads left off. Excited to be with you, sir.
Sackheads Against Tyranny.
We're going to chat. We're going to chat Wednesday nights.
S-H-A-T.
Sackheads Against Tyranny.
Wednesday night, 11 p.m. Oh, it's the same time, right? 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific.
Same SAC time, same SAC channel.
Yeah. SHRmedia.com.
See what I did there?
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
Hey, BZ. So the plan's working. You got rid of Sacco. Sean is now stepping away.
I never even saw him.
And I know, and insidious. You know, we talked about this for a good for the last 3 years, and finally coming to fruition.
You know, I'm still in the room, right?
It's almost like he's here still. Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's kind of.
It's amazing. It's kind of
at you.
It's kind of eerie.
Poltergeist.
Like a poltergeisty thing.
Yeah, Sackheads Against Tyranny.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you're listening to the Sackheads Against Tyranny. It's a true chat show. We are into the second hour. This will be interesting. These are teething pains that we're apparently experiencing on the Spreaker aspect, on the Facebook aspect, and apparently on YouTube. And you guys tell me, apparently Whiskey Dale says that when I am solo on the page on Facebook, like I am now at the beginning of the show, audio goes out. Now I'm going to go back and listen and look at all of these things on Facebook and YouTube, and I'm going to listen also on Spreaker to see if that's interrupted. So I say we are desperately trying to make sure that we get a better experience for you guys, And that's why I want to hear if you have any complaints or problems, let me know, because then we can address them. Okay, Whiskey Dale says, but full camera BZ, there is no audio. So when it's with Clint and BZ together, the split screen, it's okay. But when it's full camera right now, like I'm on Facebook, and I came back from the top of the hour break, and I'm full screen, now you have no audio.
What if it's full camera Clint? Not that anybody wants to see that.
Okay, so here's full camera Clint. And can you guys hear the show? Can you hear Clint when it's just on Clint? And I'm trying to track these down because being very specific about this stuff really helps, and that allows us to go and...
Are they able to hear us with full Clint?
I haven't heard anything back yet. And
maybe you can't hear when it's full Clint.
Yeah, well, Right Wing Aviator, now I'm over in YouTube chat, and Right Wing Aviator, so apparently it's with YouTube as well. Right Wing Aviator says sound with Clint only. So when I go to the BZ only screen, apparently there is no sound. So for the rest of the show, you're going to see
split screen.
You're going to see the split screen with myself and Clint, or you're going to see Clint's chair just by himself.
And I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, I know.
Let's talk Kavanaugh confirmation.
Okay.
Hearings.
Let's do. Number one.
Yes.
Does he get confirmed?
Yes.
Okay. Number two, do you think that he's going to be confirmed by like 2 votes, 3 votes? Or is it going to be like 5, 6, 8 votes?
I don't know that I can answer that right now.
Okay.
I do know that the Democrats have not raised a viable issue or a viable reason to not go forward. I think that Kavanaugh was introduced, if I'm not mistaken. One of the lawyers who brought him out during the first part of the speech was a liberal law professor or a lawyer who voted for Hillary over Trump, but still was supportive of him. I think that I know that there are, and we've talked about this on the show before, there have been liberal law professors and lawyers who have come out in support of him as a jurist. So yes, I think he'll be confirmed because there is nothing in his background that would suggest that he should not be confirmed. There's really nothing there. So it's and I think the American public know that. If you go back and God, BZ, I mean, how many Supreme Court justices do you remember in your lifetime that have gone through confirmation hearings from one party or another, and they're overwhelmingly confirmed? They're usually it's 60 votes has not been an issue to get, at least in my memory, for an overwhelming majority of the time.
I submit this is all Trump responsible.
Of course,
if Trump were, I'd say I'd submit that if another Republican was in there, not Trump, but any other Republican, whether it was even Ted Cruz or Jeb Bush or any of the some of the other more milquetoast Republicans,
I don't think you'd see this level of resistance.
Malevolence. This is malevolence.
It really is.
It's absolute malevolence.
Look, you have United States senators who are basically complicit with these protesters, these paid protesters who are interrupting the proceedings. And I have to give credit to Dianne Feinstein. When she came up to speak, and I see the vein already pulsating in your forehead.
Even through the hat?
Even through the hat.
Damn, you're good, mister. You are really good.
I even said that because she even made a comment, something to the effect of, "Hey, in light of everything that's going on, we're gonna get through this." So I think that there are, and I'm not saying she's going to vote for him, but I think that there are Democrats that realize that this is complete bullshit. And that even just the breach of decorum and everything else is just so out of line. And here's what I wouldn't be surprised if this happens. I'm not making a prediction, but I wouldn't be surprised if there are Democrats in the Senate who vote for Kavanaugh just because of this bullshit that not Kavanaugh's going through, because that guy has been a rock through this, but that the Senate as a whole is being put through for this confirmation process, because this is a black eye, not on Kavanaugh, or this is a black eye on the United States Senate, specifically the Democrats in the Senate. And I don't believe most people in America want to see that garbage. We're talking about seating, and I would say this if this was Obama's nominee. This is a United States Supreme Court nominee. If they're not going to get confirmed because of whatever reason, because of some legitimate concern, then so be it. There's a process. By the way, it's advise and consent. It's not block. It's not get our political guy in there. It's advise and consent, not advise and resist or resist and block. But I would argue that those senators who are coordinating these outbursts, I would argue that they are part of a conspiracy to disrupt these proceedings. Conspiracy. And if one person's getting hooked for a crime and they're conspiring with them to commit said crime that they're being arrested for, what does that make them?
I submit this all dovetails. And two very, I think, important things occurred today and yesterday. Now, we spoke about decorum. I want to play for everybody. This is the thing tanked yesterday. The very first day of the hearings, the Democrats made sure that they obstructed for 77 minutes and nothing got done. Then the protesters decided to yelp in there, and my ears were assaulted by the high-pitched screams of little social justice warriors. It's no different than today. This is how things started off today in the Kavanaugh hearings, day 2.
Everybody, and we welcome everybody back again, and especially Judge Kavanaugh and his wife Ashley.
This is Chuck Grassley, the
NBC
chairman.
News reported that Democratic members of the committee plotted with Minority Leader to disrupt the hearing yesterday.
Now, hang on a second, because I have that story, and we'll be going to that story.
Democratic senators interrupted the hearing 63 times before lunch. In the audience, 70 people were arrested yesterday who were following their lead. But we also were able to finally conduct our hearing the way it should be conducted. Yesterday was just opening statements.
Okay, there goes a an elderly white guy in a blue shirt. He gets sucked out. Then an elderly white woman with short hair and glasses. She goes.
Wonder how much money they made.
Today is different.
And here comes a younger white woman. She's getting pulled up. They're all screaming and yelling. They're getting attention, all the photographers. Now a white chick in a plaid blue shirt gets pulled up. One thing that I'm noticing about this that I should like to point out is they all took turns. 1, 2, 3, 4. They all stood up, not at once. No. They didn't stand up at once. This is quite programmed.
Yes.
Okay, so now we got number 4. Now we're waiting for more people, and we don't see it. I said I had something about a story of that. Here's a story from Breitbart. Dick Durbin admits Democrats plotted to disrupt Brett Kavanaugh's Supreme Court hearing. Apparently, they have the information. Senator Dick Durbin, Democrat of Illinois, admitted Tuesday in the Senate Judiciary Committee hearing on the nomination of Judge Brett Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court that he and other Democrats participated in a conference call on how to disrupt the hearings. Durbin was responding to a question by Senator Tom Tillis, Republican of North Carolina, who cited an ABC News tweet from earlier in the morning that reported that Senate Democrats had planned over the Labor Day weekend to use protests and interruptions.
Yeah. And if these people are being arrested for a crime and these senators conspired with them to commit said crime, why are these fuckers not getting arrested or impeached?
Here's a tweet from...
Can you answer that?
No, well, I'm going to keep going. Here, there's more, but wait, there's more.
Shit, even on that.
Yeah, you think that's going to get prosecuted? Fat chance. From Casey Hunt. It says Democrats plotted coordinated protest strategy over the holiday weekend and all agreed to disrupt and protest the hearing. Sources tell me and Frank Thorpe. Democrat leader Chuck Schumer led a phone call and committee members are executing now. Now, the hearing had already been disrupted a whole bunch of times by protesters led by the anti-Trump and the Democrat-aligned Women's March, which claimed credit yesterday, and several senators also interrupted proceedings with interjections. That was purposeful, and would you say that's coordinated as well?
Of course.
Of course. Here's NBC Politics. They sent out a tweet that says Kavanaugh hearing has returned to regular order after Democratic senators and protesters interrupted the proceedings. Kavanaugh has given his initial welcome statement. That's even from NBC Politics acknowledging that this crap was happening. Senator Tillis asked, I'm reviewing a tweet by NBC that said Democrats plotted coordinated protest strategy over the holiday weekend, all agreed to disrupt and protest the hearing, sources tell me. And subsequent, Dem leader Chuck Schumer led a phone call and committee members are executing now. So I just want to be clear. None of the members of this committee participated in that phone call or that strategy before the documents were released yesterday. Are you suggesting that this allegation is false? Durbin asked to respond but merely deflected to the issue of whether the committee had been provided enough documents on Kavanaugh. Mr. Chairman, there was a phone conference yesterday, and I can tell you at the time of the phone conference, many issues were raised. One of the issues was the fact that over 100,000 documents related to Judge Kavanaugh had been characterized by the chairman of committee as committee confidential. So Durbin admitted this.
Senator Tillis.
Mr. Chairman, I'm confused because I heard earlier that this was a reaction to the document releases last night, but I'm reviewing a tweet from NBC that said Democrats plotted coordinated protest strategy over the holiday weekend, all agreed to disrupt and protest the hearing, sources tell me. And subsequent Dem leader Chuck Schumer led a phone call, and committee members are executing now. So I just want to be clear. None of the members on this committee participated in that phone call or that strategy before the documents were released yesterday. Are you suggesting that this allegation is false?
Chairman, may I respond?
This is outrageous.
Senator Durbin.
Mr. Chairman, there was...
Did you hear somebody in the background, a female, say, this is outrageous? No shit, it's outrageous.
I want to know who that is. Who was that said that?
And I can tell you at the time of the phone conference, many issues were raised. One of the issues was the fact that over 100,000 documents related to Judge Kavanaugh
Deflection.
have been characterized by the chairman of the committee as committee confidential. I've been a member of this committee for a number of years. Committee confidential documents have been really limited to extraordinary circumstances. As an example.
Okay, I want to stop right there because I just got a story that came out, which I tweeted earlier, and if I can get to it, I'd like to read it. It came from the Washington Times, and it basically said that Judge Kavanaugh was blindsided by someone. Okay, no, here we go. Cory Booker. This is a story that just came out from the Washington Times. Cory Booker uses confidential documents to quiz Kavanaugh on racial profiling. So here you have fucking Dick Durbin talking about we need to release these things. Then they get released. Then Cory Booker uses confidential documents that Kavanaugh doesn't have access to quiz him on racial profiling. Have you ever seen or heard of anything like this before in your life, Clint? Anything like this?
That's a pretty open-ended question. Not. I'm going to say not when it comes
specifically with regard to the confirmation.
No, I was just going to say
potential
I was
jurists
just going to say not
to the Supreme Court.
Not when you're talking about a potential. I would say not when you're talking about a potential confirmation to any position. Have I seen or heard of it? That doesn't mean it hasn't happened before. I don't remember it or know of it happening before, particularly to this degree. It seems like there is no more civil discourse anymore. And you know, we are getting closer and closer to a tipping point, I think.
I don't think we can help but get to that tipping point. Now,
because look, and it's not just rhetoric, right? You have rhetoric and action.
Well, no, you have violence committed against people of the Trump administration.
This is what I'm talking about. You have rhetoric and action. And you have these outward socialist, communist groups like Antifa who are coming out and saying they are going to use violence to accomplish their ends and using violence to accomplish their ends. And it's okay if violence is used in certain circumstances against certain groups of people just because we disagree with them.
I'd like to play an audio cut by Lindsey Graham, and I got to tell you that there have been many, many instances where I have not agreed with Lindsey Graham on much of anything.
Well, hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Look at the backlash that Tiger Woods is getting or got when he was asked about his relationship with Trump, President Trump, and Tiger Woods basically said something to the effect of, "Hey, let's focus on sports. You know, you have to have respect for the office of the President of the United States," and he didn't want to talk about he didn't want to talk about the politics side, and he got absolutely skewered for not wanting to get into the politics.
And that's an excellent point, because I brought it up initially with regard to homosexuality decades ago, and this is how we've transitioned. This is how we're transitioning now with regard to Trump. Anything to do with Trump. Initially, there were 3 stages, and you were a racist, a homophobe, etc., if you didn't go to the 3rd and final stage. The first stage was tolerance. The second stage was acceptance. The third stage was advocacy. If you are not an active advocate for homosexuality, against racism, against promoting gun control. Now it's the same with Trump. If you are not an active advocate against Trump, stand by to be skewered.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the stage that started there, at least 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, but those are the 3 stages that I delineated, now are applicable to Trump. And it's gotten... When Lindsey Graham, who I have frequently quantified as a rhino, when he speaks such logic as this, the shark has been jumped.
To my colleagues on the other side, I look forward to working with you, but we have a different view here. I think you got to be blind as to what's going on here. Have you heard of Justice Breyer? Do you know him? You can't say anything, I guess. Where did he come from? He was Ted Kennedy's Senate Judiciary person. Where do you think Republicans are going to go find a judge? The whole argument is you can be a conservative Republican president, but you got to nominate a liberal to be fair to the country. That's absurd. Where do you think Ruth Bader Ginsburg came from? She was the general counsel of the ACLU. Wonderful person. What groups do y'all use to pick from? This is shaping up to be the hypocrisy hearing, and that's hard to do in the Senate in today's time, to be hypocritical. But let me just point to a few of these things. Clinton. It didn't bother anybody for Clinton to nominate Breyer while he was under investigation. We actually did it. It didn't bother any of y'all that Ted Kennedy, staff person, was his pick. It didn't bother me either, because that's who I expect you to pick. This is ridiculous. You're one of the best choices any Republican could make. As I said with Justice Gorsuch, I am glad you're here, because there were days I'm wondering who he would have picked. And this is a home run from my point of view. Let's talk about Roe v. Wade. Who would ever play politics on the campaign trail with Roe v. Wade? What a bastard Donald Trump is. Until you hear about Hillary Clinton. February the 3rd, 2016. Here's what Hillary Clinton said. When asked, does she have a litmus test for SCOTUS nominations, Supreme Court nominees? I do have a litmus test. I have a bunch of litmus tests because the next president could get as many as 3 appointments, and I hope she's right. We've got to make sure to preserve Roe v. Wade, not let it be nibbled away or repealed. She sounds very open-minded. October 2016. We need a Supreme Court that will stand up on behalf of women's rights. It is important that we not reverse Roe v. Wade. I want a Supreme Court that will stick with Roe v. Wade and a woman's right to choose. I understand where she's coming from. Anybody running for president over there, I dare you to disagree with her. You will wind up like I did, getting 1%. If you even suggest that you will pick a nominee that's not going to uphold Roe v. Wade, that's the end of you. But you figured that out. You don't need me to tell you. So this is the way we do politics. This is a big decision called Roe v. Wade. There are 2 sides and a bunch of nuances. Here's what I know about you. You're going to take it as president. You wrote a big book, which I will never read. And you're going to tell us what it takes to overturn longstanding precedent. Nobody on this side will care if you overturn Citizens United. Matter of fact, they will cheer you on. Somebody will challenge Citizens United, and you'll probably say, let me hear both sides of the story, then I'll tell you whether or not I should uphold it. Hillary Clinton, we know where she's at on Roe v. Wade, and that's just the way it is. Now, what other things? Executive power. This idea that Trump picked you to save him. Amazing concept. Since you said what you said back in 1998 and 2008, the bottom line is when Clinton was being impeached, my good friend, and this is true, he is my good friend, on February the 12th, 1999, introduced into the record during the deliberations of the Clinton impeachment trial an article by Brett Kavanaugh suggesting that you should wait, if there is an indictment, until after the president is out of office. The same concept we're talking about here today, when the shoe was on the other foot, here's what Joe said about your thinking. The president is not simply another individual. He is unique. He is the embodiment of the federal government and the head of a political party. If he is to be removed, the entire government likely would suffer, and the military or economic consequences to the nation could be severe. These repercussions, if they are to occur, should not result from the judgment of a single prosecutor, whether it be the Attorney General or Special Counsel, and a single jury. Prosecution or non-prosecution of president is, in short, inevitable, unavoidably, a political act. Thus, as the Constitution suggests, the decision about the president while he's in office should be made where all great national political judgments in our country should be made in the Congress of the United States, according to Joe Biden, the gift that keeps on giving for us. I think that's pretty hypocritical. During the Clinton days, you were right, but all of a sudden you're a danger to the republic. Let's talk about, there's so many. How many minutes do I have here? The bottom line is... don't
exceed what White House...
I will not.
Lindsey Graham is nailing it here.
Yes.
Nailing it. It's 9:29. I got to ask you, Clint, you want to continue through with this, or you want to hit the break and come back to it? Okay. This is one of the best, some of the best rhetoric from Lindsey Graham I've ever heard.
That'd be impossible.
Guns. Somehow you're going to...
It gets better.
Make sure that Congress... The bottom line on guns, Dianne Feinstein's a wonderful lady and has passion on this issue about assault weapons. She was able to succeed politically. After 10 years, the gun assault weapons ban expired, and it's been hard to get it reestablished.
Okay, let me interject right now. I know you know this already, Clint, but I'm going to make this obvious for the people that are not from California. Dianne Feinstein is fervently anti-gun because of what happened to Mayor Moscone by Dan White. Dan White was a county supervisor in San Francisco, and he had if folks remember the Twinkie defense, where he got so pissed off by various groups that he decided he had to go in and ended up shooting, I think, first Harvey Milk, then went into Mayor Moscone's office and killed him as well. This was under Dianne Feinstein's watch. She happened to go into one or both of those rooms afterwards. So I get Dianne Feinstein. She saw this personally. I get it. She's wrong, but I get it.
She introduced legislation in 2013 that got 60 no votes, 16 Democrats. So I don't believe they see you as a threat to the nation if you come out on the idea that the Second Amendment has some meaning. In other words, the political process when it comes to guns is a work in progress, and I'd rather us decide that than you. When it comes to the pillar of virtue, Comey.
By the way, that's exactly what Ben Sasse did yesterday. He accused the legislature in his opening comments of the legislature not doing their job and then thrusting these various decisions over in sort of a bifurcated fashion. One, over to what he called he never did call them the deep state, but they are the deep state. That is to say, all the bureaucrats that make rules and regulations that are not passed through the legislature. And or the other path of bifurcation is they don't do their job in the legislature, and then the crap goes up to SCOTUS, and they have to make the decision.
Yep.
Harry Reid, that he's been a supporter of Comey and led the fight to get him confirmed, as he believed Comey was a principled public servant. With the deepest regret, I now see that I was wrong. Mr. Nadler from New York. The president can fire him for cause and ought to. He violated all the guidelines and put his thumb on the scale of an election. Mr. Cohen from Tennessee, a Democrat.
You see
called on Comey to resign his position effective immediately. I'm sure upon reflection of this action, he will submit his letter of resignation for the nation's good. To my Democratic friends, you're all for getting rid of this guy. Now all of a sudden the country's turning upside down because Trump did. There's a process to find out what happened in the 2016 election. It's called Mr. Mueller. And I will do everything I can to make sure he finishes his job without political interference.
Stop. At this point, do you agree with that, Clint?
Yes.
I do too.
Yes.
I do too. I think politically it's wrong to stop Mueller, let him go through, because I believe, and I want to find out if you believe this, that again, there's a bifurcated path here. Number one is I don't believe that he's going to find any direct causal linkage or evidence to indicate that Trump colluded with Russia and or had a hand in overturning somehow the electoral process or the election process in 2016. I don't believe it exists.
I don't think it does either.
But
I think it just pisses Trump off.
Yes, but number two, because this just came out today or yesterday, and this was what I was going to make a future reference to. Sarah A. Carter. Folks, if you're not going to sarahacarter.com, by God, you need to. She comes out, she's one of the few journalists left today. And she came out with a piece today indicating that she believes it's potentially possible that Trump is going to declassify the remaining redacted 20 pages to the original FISA warrant. And trust me when I tell you that there is pants-shitting hysteria going on today and tonight in the FBI and the DOJ. If he chooses to do that, I again fervently believe that you're going to find evidence to indicate that there was, in fact, a soft coup against someone who was running for president, a president-elect, and a sitting president. And the FBI and the DOJ, all the other various alphabet agencies have been doing their level best including anybody and everyone in the Senate remotely linked to this, or in the House remotely linked to this, have been obfuscating and doing their level best. This may be the bottom line if Trump does that, because the blanket will be pulled off the rotting corpse.
Here is, so you want to know how the FBI redeems itself right now?
I don't know. I
know how they redeem themselves in my eyes.
Okay.
And I don't think it would have to come from the top. It would have to come from a mid-level manager somewhere. If these pages get redacted, these last 20 pages or so, and if it proves wrongdoing and improper actions with those high up that we've already discussed and talked about, they just say fuck it. They go out and just hook them. They just go out and make the arrest. I don't know if the FBI can make a probable cause arrest. I don't know if the FBI knows how to make an arrest at all.
I having worked from the federal system before, they primarily have no concept of fresh arrest.
Can they do it, though?
They can. I won't say never.
That is what would do it for me. They get the probable cause based upon whatever, and they go and they hook all these.
They almost solely operate from
I know.
Either search warrants or arrest warrants.
I know they primarily do.
Because they're ruled by the AUSAs, but that's a discussion for another day.
But legally, if they can do it, that's what in my mind I'd be like, okay, there's a group of folks who are okay. Even if they know nothing's going to get charged, just the fact that they go down and they book those individuals.
This is all starting to dovetail. I said this about a year ago. Everything that's coming, that's been exposed now, is the tip of the proverbial iceberg. I think there's going to be more.
So you're saying they've exposed just the tip?
Yes.
I'm just confirming that.
In a way.
And I'm here to tell anybody in the country who listens that this is so hypocritical of my friends on the other side. When it was their president, Kavanaugh was right. When you're talking about Roe v. Wade, it's okay to promise the nation it will never be overturned. It's okay to pick a Democratic staff member of this committee, but it's not okay to pick somebody who's been a lifelong Republican. People see through this. You had a chance, and you lost. If you want to pick judges from your way of thinking, then you better win an election. I voted for two of your choices, Sotomayor and Kagan. Got a lot of crap. I would suggest you think long and hard if you got a political ambition of voting for this guy, because it will not play well on your side. And why did I do it? I thought they were qualified by any reasonable measure given the history of the Senate. But we have turned the history of the Senate upside down. I found that they were different than I would have picked Sotomayor and Kagan, but by any reasonable measure, they were qualified. You've been on the court for 12 years. You've had 307 decisions. You've been approved before. So I hope people in the country understand this game.
Okay, that again is the point of points. He already got vetted through all of this. That's how Kavanaugh ended up sitting on the D.C. court himself. Yep. And everybody that's anybody knows that the D.C. court essentially can rightfully become a stepping stone up to SCOTUS. But the point he makes is the rampant, incredible hypocrisy of saying that he was fine to be a judge then. But now that he's been nominated by Trump, by the same body of individuals, the House and the Senate, who have said essentially, no, not essentially, they said specifically, we don't give one rotten fuck who Trump nominates. We're not going to vote for him, period, end of statement. And so here you have Kavanaugh.
Mm-hmm.
It's a game that I am sad to be part of.
That was one of the best statements I've heard recently. I played Ben Sass last night for 15 minutes when we were having some technical difficulties in the show, which Sean fixed for us. Question to you, Sackheads Clint. All the interruptions that have occurred yesterday and today at the beginning of the confirmation hearings, and he was on for almost 12 hours today. Mm-hmm. One guy sitting in a seat battered and hammered with question after question. He's going to come back for a third day tomorrow. The first day, his daughters and family had to be removed from the proceedings because they feared for what would happen to them from the protesters in the back of the room. We had protests yesterday. We had protests today. We're going to get protests tomorrow.
Yeah.
And if there's a fourth day, we're going to get protests on that day as well. Today being Wednesday.
And when he's confirmed, we're going to have protests.
We're going to have protests as well. So my question to you, although I have many immediately, this one is, Sackheads Clint, is this going to work to the benefit or the detriment of the Democrats in the Senate and the House?
Oh, it's going to work. It's going to work to the benefit of the progressives like Oraska Karakawashababa. I can't pronounce her name. I think it's going to work to the detriment of the Democrats who are really just not radical at all, and they're coming from districts that are blue dog or that are working class folks that historically they've just gone they've gone blue, they've gone Democrat. I think California Democrats, yep, absolutely. Yep, good, but they're going to fucking win anyway, so who cares? Same with New York, but I think that that Tennessee Democrat, that could be trouble. Even somebody like, I know Dianne Feinstein is kind of in a fight a little bit, right? Because if Dianne Feinstein is too conservative for you, you must be in California.
And that happens to be very true.
And that happens
in California.
Yeah, it does. But I think
Barbara Boxer,
I think
dumb as a box of rocks.
Yeah,
but she got her butt kicked out by Kamala Harris.
Yeah, look, I think overall, look, folks, you need to pay attention to Kamala Harris. If you don't know who she is, you need to look her up. And
okay.
So real quick.
Okay, exactly. You just dovetailed into another point that I want to make. Did you happen to hear any of the hearings yesterday?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so what you had were various individuals playing front and center for the 2020 campaign, and they were playing to the far left base.
Yes, they were.
All the obstructionism, all the kabuki theater, as I quantify it, all the theater of the French theater of the absurd that occurred for 77 minutes yesterday before they could even mark 1 minute of headway in the confirmation hearings. That was all the Democrat side and the possible contenders for 2020 making their statements most deaf clearly to their base by doing exactly that. Dick Durbin as well, who wants to pile on. Chuck Schumer as well, who wants to pile on. When now we know that there was a coordinated effort to make sure that these protesters were aligned. And just as I watched in that video, and you did too, the protesters came up and stood up and were arrested
one by one.
One by one, because those were their directions.
So, look, do you remember Obama came out of nowhere and won the presidency? Pay attention to Kamala Harris.
I think you are, again, I have to do this because it's so correct. You are absolutely correct. I fervently believe, along with you, that when everything is said and done, and the Democrats are saying that, hey, we may have a huge line of individuals, just like we did in the Republican side in 2016, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17 people coming up. You're going to see, you're correct, Clint. I completely believe that you're correct. We're going to see Kamala Harris emerge out of this.
Yeah, you will. And look, she's a California Democrat, 54 electoral votes right off the bat.
Tells you all you need to know.
So let's real quick for our listeners who may not know who she is, and then I know we can get back to this. She was the district attorney in the city of San Francisco.
Yep, you're going to tell my tale.
There was a San Francisco cop who was killed by a known gang member. Before the body of the officer murdered, this wasn't an accidental thing.
No.
Before the body of the officer was even cold, before the investigation was complete, I would argue before the investigation had even really had really begun, she came out and said that she will not seek the death penalty. That year at the Peace Officers Memorial, which takes place at the California State Capitol, the governor I believe it was Jerry Brown. Was Jerry Brown the Attorney General at the time?
He was the AG.
He
at
was
the
the
time.
Attorney General at the time.
It was Schwarzenegger who was governor.
Jerry Brown came out at the Peace Officers Memorial and basically rebuked her. He said, if a local district attorney will not go after the death penalty in certain cases where a law enforcement officer has been killed by a gang member, then my office will step in and do so. To which there was applause. By the way, I don't think he ever did that in this case.
He did not.
But Kamala Harris ran for Attorney General. She was the only Attorney General in the history of the state of California, to my knowledge, who won election to that office without the backing of a single public safety organization.
Exactly.
Without a single, not one public safety organization, agency, or union backed her or her candidacy. She won. She comes out of nowhere, runs against Barbara Boxer for United States Senate, and wins. She is very much, if you listen to her speeches, I pay attention to her.
I do too, because I know her past and I know what you know about her, because we're here. We're living this crap. We're watching this crap.
But I think a lot of people even here in the state don't really know who she is or what she's about unless you're really from San Francisco. So, folks, San Francisco Democrat, that should tell you all you need to know. And scary. She is a very attractive lady.
Well, she's a threefer.
You know, but
she's a threefer. So young.
Yep, she's young.
Black, female.
Well, hang on. I'm going to say young. She's black. She's female. She's attractive. She's articulate.
Okay.
She is.
All right.
She's intelligent. And because you can be articulate and really not be intelligent. She's very intelligent. She can craft an argument, and she can formulate a thought, and she can convey a message. And I disagree with her, but it doesn't mean that she's not intelligent or any of those other things. So I think a combination of all of those factors, the tangibles and those intangibles, right? The looks for the on camera, for the voter appeal, right? That visual appeal. Obama had that as well, right? Bill Clinton had that when he was on the Arsenio Hall show, right? Younger, good-looking guy, played the saxophone on the Arsenio Hall show.
How cool!
So she has that visual appeal, and she also is very articulate and able to again formulate a thought and a sentence, and is intelligent. And all of those things, and her ideology is what makes her dangerous, in my opinion, to our republic. So all of those things is why, folks, you should really be paying attention to who Kamala Harris is, because from where I'm sitting, she very much could be the Democratic nominee for president or vice president. But either way, she's in national politics now.
I would not bet one penny against you. Now, I think there's going to be a race. There's going to be a ton of dogs in the hunt.
Of course there are.
But I think when everything filters out, all the Democrats are going to have to unite and will end up uniting,
like they did
specifically around her. Now, Whiskey Dale in chat says she's not smart, and she's a California liberal. And I would agree with her philosophy, but smart? No, I disagree with her not being smart, if for no other reason than who's manipulating her, because she is choosing, someone is making a series of decisions for her or around her that's allowing her to make all these perfect steps in literally just in fewer than 10 years, Clint.
Mm-hmm.
She has gone from essentially nowhere to stepping into City and County of San Francisco, DA, and literally rocketing from there over to the AG's office in Sacramento, 2 miles that way, and from there into the state senator and
U.S. Senate.
The U.S. Senate. How frequently do people do this and have that kind of? I couldn't quantify it anything other than
Obama did
meteoric.
it very quick, correct?
Yes. So we have a female Obama.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Now, was Obama intelligent?
I submit that Obama was very intelligent.
Absolutely.
And was he motivated? Was he a likable? Here is one difference. I think Obama, and people say this in sort of the 180 trap. People will say that Obama was likable, but they hated his damn policies. Mm-hmm. People will say that Trump is despicable and they despise his policies. If you go with Kamala Harris, I think Kamala Harris is about as likable as Hillary Clinton. She's kind of like Hillary Clinton was the eastern diamondback rattlesnake. I would submit that Kamala Harris is the western diamondback rattlesnake. She does not project to me any likability at all, and I think that will go against her. That having been said, however, we already see what kind of a path that she's on, and mark my words and Clint's words. You will not see her disappear unless something terrible, a cosmos-affecting event somehow occurs to her or by her. You've not seen the end of her.
Yeah, and I disagree that she's not intelligent. She's very intelligent.
She is very intelligent.
She is very, very intelligent.
And I think she's been plotting her path certainly with the help of a lot of
sure.
people.
Of course she has help.
But she's smart enough when she gets information placed in front of her head to say, we're going this way instead of that way.
And
look where she is now.
And if you listen to her interviews, if you listen to her speak and interact, she actually can speak and interact and formulate an independent thought. It's not answering a question with a question or all the time or answering in the same rehearsed statements at time. She's able to engage in a conversation. She's able to look at things critically. And again, I disagree with how she comes to her conclusions, particularly her politics and those sorts of things. But it doesn't mean that she's not intelligent, because she is. She's a very intelligent lady. Can I say lady, or is that offensive? Can you say lady anymore?
I don't know and don't predominantly care. That having been said, however, name me someone, folks, Clint, or the people that are listening live, the people that are in the various chat rooms, the people that are listening in podcast. You won't be able to say anything to us, but ask yourself, other than Kamala Harris, who do you think has the greatest weight in the Democrat Party and will be able to rally all the Democrats around? Is it going to be Joe Biden? Let me just kind of throw some names out there, and I'd like your thoughts on them. Joe Biden.
Could be.
Okay, and he would play because?
He would play because he was Obama's vice president.
Okay.
He knows the political game.
Okay.
Because he was Obama's vice president, he could play to that progressive left. He's been in politics so long that he also can play to the regular Main Street Democrats. I would suggest that Joe Biden is the best person to be able to unite both factions of the Democrat Party right now, again around one candidate with the least amount of fracture.
He'll be 80 or 81 in 2020. Yep. Will it also play on the sympathy vote because of his son?
It could, but Joe Biden's likable.
And there's a lot to be said for that.
Yes.
That Joe Biden is, in fact, the gift that keeps on giving verbally. Oh, my God, the Republican ads that I could assemble if I wanted to.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Even in light of all that, the guy's likable.
I think if you were to throw back a bunch of beers with him in his backyard, you'd have a grand time.
Yeah. Look, I mean,
and he'd do it.
Yeah. And look, we could disagree with his politics, right? But he, in my opinion, that's the Democrats' best right now. I see him as the Democrats' best person to be able to rally both sides of that party.
Okay, we got 6 minutes left before the top of the hour. I'm going to continue to throw some names out at you, and I really want to hear your thoughts.
Sure.
Hillary Clinton.
No,
because you know that she desperately wants to come
she
back.
does, but I think
who will support her?
I don't think she has the. I really don't. I don't think she has the support.
Hillary Clinton. Eastern Diamondback Rattlesnake. Let me throw another name out at you.
Sure.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Not for president. Not for president. She's kicked the media out of all her events. She doesn't allow any media in her town halls or in her discussions in her events. She routinely gets has gotten her butt kicked when she's come up with any kind of facts. Not right now.
We talked about intelligence.
Yeah.
I equate her with the average houseplant.
And I don't know if it's intelligence or if it's lack of information.
I think she's woefully unintelligent, and she would have to have the world's greatest puppet master behind her. Let me throw out another name, Cory Booker.
No.
Why not?
He's too divisive. He has said some of the things that he has said, and the way he's conducted himself at some of these hearings and so forth. I think he would rally one side of the party, but I think that he has been far too. That one thing that Kamala Harris has over Cory Booker is she really hasn't. She hasn't come out and said anything outrageous that would shock the conscience of most Americans. She said things that are pretty outrageous in my opinion, but she hasn't come out and called names, at least that I've heard anything, and I pay attention to what's going on with her. Cory Booker has said some pretty crazy shit. He said some stuff where you can put some sound bites together, and I think he would lose a huge block of independents and even some folks on his own party.
Let me throw out one final name.
Mm-hmm.
Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, she could. I think that I would place her as so I would place, if Biden runs, I would place Biden number 1, and then 2 and 3 I think would be interchangeable between Elizabeth Warren and Kamala Harris.
You're putting Kamala Harris down below Biden.
I'm putting Kamala Harris below Biden just because I think Biden can unite more than Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris will
okay, interesting.
Yeah, Kamala Harris will absolutely. But if Biden doesn't run, I think Kamala Harris has what it takes to be able to emerge. She just stepped up. Yeah, but Biden, I think that for reasons I've already stated. Look, he's been Obama's vice president. He can get that progressive side of the vote. He can also get the mainstream Democrat, the blue dog Democrat vote. I don't think Kamala Harris can pull the blue dog vote. I don't, unless they are so anti-Trump. I think they either stay home because they can't vote for her like they did Hillary, or they vote for Trump because they realize that their pocketbooks look pretty damn good.
We got 3 more minutes, so I'll throw out another name.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking he's way too long in the tooth, but I just want to know, do you think he's got a chair? Bernie Sanders.
No.
Too old?
Yeah, I think he's he is. He's too old, but I think that he would be more in the background, kind of helping, campaigning for some of the socialist folks out there.
Okay, that begs another question, because you mentioned that comes to my brain housing group is, would he back AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, because she and he are simpatico together?
Yes.
If she goes somewhere, would he be running her in the background?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't have a doubt on that.
Okay. Have I missed anybody, do you think?
Dick Durbin.
Do you think anybody could come out of the wings? And
anybody could come out of the wings for sure. Gosh, you don't know. You may see a Democrat come out of the wings who's actually pretty damn conservative, a traditional blue dog Democrat who really piss off the progressives, kind of like Trump did to the Republican Party, and win. I think that's the dark horse scenario. That is possible. I don't know if it's likely, but look what we said about Trump too. So I think it is possible for the Democrats to have a dark horse come out, be a traditional blue dog Democrat, and they win. And I think that would actually be funny.
And you make an excellent point, because look at the amount of change that this country has undergone just in 2 years, from 2016 to 2018, meaning that the amount of change the country is likely to endure from 18 to 20, I think is ranges from geometric to off the charts.
Absolutely. Now, one thing we didn't get to tonight, but I thought it was an interesting development of the world, and I haven't heard anything more about it.
Things we didn't get to.
Iran actually took over control of the Strait of Hormuz. How do you pronounce that?
Strait of Hormuz.
Access to the Gulf. Where was that story? They said that they had control of the Gulf. How much of the world's oil flows through there? And the United States basically come out and said, "Be very careful."
Let's put it this way: everything from the Middle East.
Yeah,
everything.
Did you hear anything about that? I haven't heard anything since.
No,
I have a feeling that it that quietly resolved itself.
We can hope so. All right, folks, that's going to be it for us. I have my show tomorrow night, the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. Carrie Baxter Donovan's going to be in the first hour, and I'm going to talk about the alphabet agencies in the second hour. Thanks for being here. This was a true shot show on the SHR Media Network. It is conservative media done right. Don't forget my show. Thanks for the time you take out of your busy day to listen live, to partake of chat, listen in podcast. We value each and every one of you. And you got to follow us. Follow us on Twitter at SHR Media Group. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. I swear to Christ we're going to get that mother running. And like us and follow us on Facebook. Share us on local media, social media. Thanks for listening. God bless. Everybody take care. Good night.